Stavros Tousios for M4Markets. Today we are going to go for gold and also dollar against CAD. We've talked about gold last week, and we did say that I think we were around the 1930 or so, and we did say that as long as we remain below 38, below 50, there's more chances to go towards the golden ratio, which is around 1906. And we also identified this now it's a little bit less divergence. There's a bit less divergence with this last trough to the downside, to be fair, but we did identify this potential leg to the upside, okay? And I still actually think that this potentially could end up being some sort of wedge pattern here, which would suggest, of course, you know, a reversal for a further continuation to the upside, or a reversal that is just going to be a simple correction and you know, might go closer to this ascending trend line of the bottom side, of course, of this ascending channel, and from there continue the downside. As I look at it, and as we come close to the 61.8, there is two cases that I see panning out here. One is you know, the breaking of 61.8 and the immediate slide towards 1885 or so, because this is the most important swing following the psychological 61.8. And then from there, there is another support down around 1860. Okay, so there's a bit of a gap between these two levels, between 1885 and 1860, okay? Or if we get a bounce, then there's going to be, of course, some sort of relief or a potential reversal, as I said, with the 50 being the major short-term resistance that we need to pay attention to. Now, we don't see any signals to the downside lights. What we actually see here is convergence, and convergence typically suggests, of course, a continuation towards the predominant trend, which in this case is to the downside. But as we said before, it's important to keep an eye on the RSI because it's getting a bit more flat, okay? Which means we have a weaker bullish divergence compared to what we had last week. Now, when it comes to dollar against the Canadian dollar, we talked about that leg to the downside as well, and we identified that as a resistance. And we said that if we manage to see a retest here, further continuation would be coming. So this is exactly what happened. We did see that leg to the downside, but typically when we get retests, then this move continues. Well, in this particular case, it didn't continue. And that doesn't necessarily mean, though, it won't come back down. It doesn't, of course, necessarily mean that it will just reverse higher. The important thing is to pay attention to the signals. And the RSI has been giving us this signal, multiple signals, okay? And this is what we mainly actually talked about as well last time. This bullish divergence, okay? So multiple signals, I repeat. So it is important. Right now, we've just actually come back to 132.30 or so, and it doesn't look like a retest. We've come back within that channel, even tapped into that territory. Even this small test of the territory, guys, it's quite important because it's the first test for bulls. If prices had come exactly at this support level, making it support without going above, which is around 32.34, but it went up to 32.30, then it would have been a different story. But just because of the insertion, the penetration of this level, then this makes things a little bit different, which suggests that this indeed maybe in the short term might find some sort of pressure over here, okay? But the decline is what going to tell us whether this will have more chances to continue higher or lower. So once and if we get a correction, we're going to get potentially, or we want to get a signal. If the signal suggests upside, then it will be higher likelihood that we'll do something like this, go at least to the lower end of that channel, and from there we see whether it will go up or down with new signals. Or if we don't get any signal here, then the chances of moving all the way down are going to increase, okay? But again, without that necessarily meaning that we're going to just go down without stopping. It's something similar that happened here. You know, we've actually retested that level here once. We went down, but reversed quickly. And this seems to be suggesting that there is buying interest at this level. And the move to the downside, to the upside so far, guys, this move looks quite impulsive. So when we have impulses like this, the corrections are supposed to be the ones that we're looking for signals to join the trend.